The episode took 13 minutes before it got to this point. Who's giving you this video? A 14-year-old. Two kids were in the back seat. They got showered with glass. Listen to what he told our Don Lemon.
I was scared, but that's what really gave me the courage to keep videotaping it, because I was scared and I knew if we took this to court, we had something to fight against them, because police have more power than us.
All right, let's bring in CNN analyst Paul Callan, legal analyst, of course, and Mo Ivory, attorney and radio host. We want to focus on what will determine the outcome of the action taken here by the police. Paul, first question to you. Local law and government standing by the officers. No investigation announced yet. Surprising?
I do find it surprising, because I think while probably in the end what they did was within the law, I think that the force was more force than had to be utilized by the police under the circumstances presented. So it looks to me like it was a very bad judgment call by these cops about how to handle a volatile situation, though probably not illegal under Indiana and United States law.
Mo, this is what the cops say happened, when and why, okay? I'll rush through it because you know the facts. I just want it for you at home, all right? The driver pulled over, asked for ID, produced it. The officer then asked for ID from the passenger. Driver responded the passenger didn't have any. The officer then approached the passenger, asked to speak with the passenger, asked the passenger to provide his identification on a piece of paper. The passenger refused to lower the window more than a little amount, told the officer, quote, he was not going to do the officer's job, and for him to get a piece of paper. The first officer then called for backup after asking the passenger several more times to provide his name, even pointing out a piece of paper that was seen by the officer near the center console of the vehicle was there for him to use. Then the officer asked for video backup of the situation. What do you make of these circumstances?
Well, I definitely think that it's going to come down to whether those two stories can at all go in line with the video that the police officers will have. Now, we know that the only video that is going to be available up to that point before the officer called for video backup is the video of the young man in the car. So I really think it's going to be whether those facts are true or not. Of course, the family does not say that that's what happened. The family says that when they asked Jamal for the paper, he told them that he did not have ID because it had been taken from a insurance violation, but that he did have that paperwork to show them, and that he needed to retrieve it from the backpack that he was reaching for. So there's even some question as to whether they knew that he was going to need to reach for the backpack, because they keep saying that that is the reason why they felt that they were in some danger.
NAACP board member John Gaskin says, as a man of color, if I'm pulled over, I'm leery of the officer and obey whatever commands they're giving, because at this point you're fearful of your life. Even though that is a tragic reason to obey a police officer, Mo Ivory, if you were pulled over and in the passenger seat and the cop came around and said, do you have ID? Would you give it to them?
I would give them my ID. I mean, that has happened to me before.
All right, so let me stop you there for a second, you know, because the answer is yes, not to cut you off, but I want to get Paul to the main proposition, which is the cop tells you to do something and you refuse. White, black, green, yellow, the percentages may be different, but in all cases, how many good outcomes come out of that scenario?
No, you're going to get arrested if you fight the cop at the scene. You comply with the police request, you get out of the vehicle, and you live to fight another day. You'll get a lawyer, you'll sue the police if they're wrong. But I think, and I don't want people to make a mistake about this, in this case, the issue is not whether the police had a right to ask for identification. In fact, this is a free country. Maybe a driver has to have a driver's license, but a passenger, maybe you don't have any ID, okay? There's no requirement you have to carry your wallet, but the police can ask for ID. It's not a crime if you don't have it. But what went on here? The police asked him to exit the vehicle over a period of 13 minutes. The law is crystal clear. The U.S. Supreme Court has said because of the danger involved when a police officer approaches a vehicle, the police can ask all passengers to exit the vehicle. This cop could have even asked the children to exit the vehicle. That's perfectly legal. And that's where this dispute arose from, that he didn't exit the vehicle as requested by the police. So they then escalated.
Go ahead, Mo, because
Paul,
you know what, what I want to tee up for you is, would he have done that to me and my family? Put the Cuomo thing aside, the TV thing aside. A white guy sitting with his kids in the car, do they ask me to get out? You know, and the supposition is probably not, and that's the concern, right?
Yeah, of course that's the concern. Probably not. But I want to go back to what Paul said about the issue being not getting out of the car. It was very clear that when they asked him for the ID, he did comply. He did tell them, I don't have an ID, but I do need to reach into my bag to give you this ticket that is going to show who I am. They didn't want to take it. Even then, the driver tried to give them the piece of paper from the sunroof, and they still didn't want to take it. That was the police beginning to escalate a situation that did not have to get to that point. They only asked them to get out of the car after they had their guns drawn, after they already created a tense. Even in the interview yesterday, the driver herself said that even in the manner of which they pulled them over, it was hostile. So it was hostile from the very, very beginning, which would give any black man living in America today with a gun drawn by a white police officer to fear getting out of the car.
Mo, I agree with you 100% on everything that you just said. And that's why I say there should be an investigation, at least internally, about whether they exercised proper judgment in this situation. But everything that Mo talked about, in the end, the police still had the right to say, I want you to exit the vehicles. Because look at it from the cop's standpoint. The cop, now maybe he's mistaken, and we know he was in retrospect. There was no gun or bomb or drugs in the car. But he's looking at the passenger saying, he doesn't have ID. He hands me a ticket indicating that he's been crossed by the police before. Then he asks for a white shirt. What is that? You know what a white shirt is? A white shirt is a police supervisor. So the cop's thinking, boy, this guy's a sophisticated consumer of police services. You know what the cop's thinking? There's probably a warrant out for the guy. So now he says, all right, exit the vehicle.
Well,
okay?
also, you're
the
forgetting,
law allows
you're forgetting
him to do
something.
that. Even though he's wrong, he can ask him to get out of the car.
You're forgetting something. I want to end on this because we got to move on now. We'll continue this conversation. Unfortunately, we get too many opportunities to do so right now in the country. But this wasn't just a straight dialogue with mutual respect. They were talking in the car about how cops are shooting people all over the place, and the passenger was jawing at the cop. And when you look at the cop's face, they don't look apprehensive to me. They look pissed off, like I'm tired of hearing these people yell at me. It's been 13 minutes. But that goes to the fault of the people in the car also. You have fault on both sides. That's why I'm surprised there's no investigation here yet. There is a civil suit. We'll see what it yields. Mo Ivory, always appreciate the perspective. Paul Callan, Professor, thank you for being with us once again. Now,